Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Normal here, and in this video we're going to do the detailed review of the Samsung Galaxy On7 Prime. So Samsung Galaxy On7 Prime is the latest mid-range phone announced by Samsung in India, and this comes in two variants, the 12999 variant with 3GB RAM and 32GB internal storage, and there is a 14999 variant with 4GB RAM and 64GB storage. And this device is online only and available exclusively on Amazon. So how good is this device for the pricing? So let's find out in this review. So before going into the detailed aspects, let's first have a look at the specifications. So it comes with a 5.5-inch Full HD TFT display. It is powered by the Exynos 7870 octa-core chipset coupled with either 3 or 4GB RAM and 32 or 64GB internal storage. It has a 13-megapixel rear camera, f-stop 1.9, 13 megapixel front camera, f-stop 1.9, 3300 mAh battery, Android 7.1.1 and Samsung Experience UI. So that is the specifications of the Samsung Galaxy On7 Prime. So let's go straight into the detailed aspects. Let's first have a look at the design and build quality. So design wise, the Samsung Galaxy On7 Prime has the same design and looks as that of the Samsung J7 Prime announced in 2016. So Samsung has used the same design language as that of the J7 Prime and announced it as On7 Prime. So that's quite disappointing. While the design is from 2016, the build quality looks quite good. It is a metal unibody construction and feels quite sturdy as well. But the design is something which is quite disappointing. Samsung has just released the device, re-released the device which was announced in 2016 as On7 Prime. So that's the design aspect. Now the power key is on the right side. We have the speaker unit on the top panel of the right side, and we have the volume rocker keys on the left side. The bottom houses the micro USB charging slot, the 3.5mm audio jack and the microphone, and top portion does not have an opening for slots. The left side also houses the dual SIM card slot and also the micro SD card expansion slot. Now the front panel has the 5.5-inch Full HD display, the front facing 12-megapixel camera, earpiece and the fingerprint scanner, integrated home button and back and multitasking button. So in terms of the design, there is nothing new to offer. Samsung has used the same design as that of the J7 Prime announced in 2016. The build quality definitely is quite decent for this price segment. Now next up, the display. So one of the disappointing aspects with the Samsung Galaxy On7 Prime is the display, because it's a TFT panel and you can see that when using the device we felt that the display is kind of washed out at times, especially when playing games or watching movies or even when viewing photos taken with this device. It feels a bit dull and does not give that great experience for a 15K price segment. So the display is a 2.5D glass, but there is no protection offered on the display, and the touch response feels quite smooth, but the TFT display disappoints with the color reproduction. Now let's go into the software aspect. So this phone runs on Android 7.1.1 out of the box, and it has the Samsung's Experience version which is at 8.5 and Android version is 7.1.1. It has 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage, and there's also another variant with 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of storage. Now the software offered is the same which we have seen on other Samsung phones. We have this newer version of Samsung's Experience UI. Some additional options are supported, some additional features are included, and you get some basic options like S power planning mode, ultra data saving mode, S secure mode, and additional options from Samsung. So these are the options. There is also radio support. So some basic apps are included, and you can also see Samsung has bundled some apps including the voice recorder and S secure mode. So that's the UI of the Samsung On7 Prime. So there is nothing new to offer from Samsung. It is the same UI we have seen on the other Samsung phones. Now let's talk about the performance. So this phone is powered by the 7870 octa-core chipset. It's an Exynos chipset. We have seen this chipset on a lot of devices, including the recently reviewed J7 Next, which was a budget offering, and we have seen this processor. It's a kind of mid-range processor, not as powerful as the Kirin 659 or the Snapdragon 625, and we have tested this device in day-to-day experience and found this device to be quite a decent performer. There's no major lags or issues on this device. The gaming experience was also quite acceptable, but not as smooth as the Snapdragon 625 powered the Xiaomi Mi A1 or the Moto G5s Plus. You can see the benchmark score is lower than what the Snapdragon 625 offers at this price segment, but day-to-day performance was quite acceptable on this device, and gaming experience was kind of above average. Now the phone comes with the dual SIM cards and 4G LTE and VoLTE support. You can expand the storage using the dedicated SD card slot. The speaker performance of the device is quite acceptable. The speaker is located on the right side. So that was the software and performance aspect. We also done a detailed FAQ video on this device. You can also check out that video. Now let's talk about the camera. So we have a 13 megapixel rear camera and a 13 megapixel front facing camera on this device. And what we found out when we tested the camera is that it is kind of an average performer in daylight conditions. You can also see we have done a detailed review of this the camera on this device and found this camera to be an average performer. In the sub 15K price point, we have seen a lot of devices offering great cameras. So when you compare with the competition, the Samsung Galaxy On7 Prime misses out on the camera. The rear camera performance was quite average, the selfies was kind of acceptable, and the video recording was kind of poor. So overall, we feel the camera is kind of a disappointment on the Samsung Galaxy On7 Prime. So that's just the camera department. Now finally the battery performance. So the phone comes with a 3300 mAh battery and there's no fast charging supported, and the battery performance is quite acceptable. You can get slightly more than a day of battery life with screen on time ranging from around 4.5 to 5 hours of usage. So that's kind of okay performance for a mid-range phone. So now summing up, how good is the Samsung Galaxy On7 Prime for a price of 14,999 or 12,999 based on the variant? Now the major issue with the device is the lack of basic sensors. So a lot of sensors are missing on this device, including gyroscope, ambient light sensor, orientation sensor, magnetic sensor. So all the sensors are basically missing, and this is one of the biggest issues with this device. So if you want to go outside and use the device, you have to manually increase the brightness. So that's a major drawback of this device. It's a pretty basic sensor which Samsung has not included on this device. And other than that, it's the same Samsung J7 Prime. It has Samsung S bundled with a new name. That's again kind of disappointing. We also mentioned 5 reasons why you should not be buying this device. So our verdict would be you should be skipping this model unless you are really looking for a Samsung phone in the sub 15K price segment. Even if you're looking for a Samsung phone in the sub 15K price segment, you should be still picking out the Samsung J7 Prime, which was released in 2016. There is no major difference with this device other than the selfie camera. So J7 Prime has additional features like there is Gorilla Glass support and slightly better camera performance than the On7 Prime. And there is also another variant with the same name, that's a Samsung Galaxy On Next, which was released in 2017. So this is the third variant with the same design, same hardware, but 3 different names. So that's really disappointing from Samsung, especially when Samsung is such a great brand in terms of the mobile phone market. Overall, we feel this is definitely not a device we would recommend in this price segment. So that's all in the detailed review of the Samsung Galaxy On7 Prime. So if you plan to buy this device, you can use our link in the description of this video and buy the device. But we wouldn't definitely recommend this device because there are much better options in this price segment. So that's all guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.